Hey, this is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Silks. This is the Expecting Arrows podcast, now with the Digit Network. How's it going, guys? Thanks so much for tuning in today. Before we get started, wrap your head around silks. Lots of stuff. Roll it out. We hit the mat Monday and Thursdays, evenings to foam roll and get into those shoulders and all the arrow problems. Would love to see you there. It's on Zoom. You get a free 4-inch ball just for signing up. So it's totally worth it just to get your free gift. You can cancel it anytime. And then we have Arrow Rehab, which is for postpartum or after an injury or after a long break, really rehabbing those foundational skills. We've got a beginner to intermediate full course, and I've got a free mini course if you want to just check out my teaching style without committing right away. So I have everything there for you. All right, today we have Brittney Montalvo. She is coming back to give us an update. The last time we heard from her, we actually focused an entire episode on rheumatoid arthritis and how she manages and navigates it through her practice and just through life and medication and all that stuff. So she is in her 4th trimester, maybe in her 4th month after having her first baby. And she gives us an update. I'm not going to give you guys too much of a spoiler. Let's just get into her story. Let's get started. Before we start, I wanted to get a vent out of the way. I just am like, I had like a full anxiety attack yesterday in Silk's class.
Oh no.
Because it's just kind of like a perfect storm. Basically, my 4-year-old has been sick every other week.
Ugh.
And I have this like group of like beginner 2 level where they've been in like for about a year, and they're at this very like foundational place. But they're also at a place that they know enough that if they go to the classes, the teacher can like teach them like a triple star.
Mm-hmm.
And they just go ahead and do it. So I haven't been able, my classes have been subbed because of my kid. And I finally see my students yesterday, and they're doing all these tricks that I didn't teach them. And they're not doing it with a lot of mindfulness.
Ooh.
And I lost my shit. Like I totally lost my shit. I was like, what are you doing? When did you learn this? And if you learned it, why aren't you doing it safely? All the stuff. And then I just had an anxiety meltdown. And then I just drafted an apology for them and sent it all out this morning. Do you feel me, dude?
Yeah.
At all?
I've been there. I've been there multiple times in my like teaching career.
Well, because if you have to spend a lot of time out, which you have been.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about, well, I'm also like on the fence of whether I want to go back into teaching or not. But if I do go back, I'm a little bit nervous of like, what's been going on with these beginner students? Am I going to come back and then they're going to be frustrated because I'm going to scale it back on what I see as foundational,
right,
versus what my sub teachers have seen as foundational. So I'm like, ugh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're not looking forward to like the moment I just had yesterday? So bad. Well, it's not their fault. They're just excited, right?
Exactly.
But I'm just like, I don't know. You know, you see enough people fall in class and you just become like, I just become this person that I don't really want to be.
Yep.
But there's a lot of great things about this podcast, but also one of the best is that I can just like schedule a podcast, jump on and just like rant about my week of teaching. Cause I'm just like, so bad. But then the awesome thing is the person who is more of the boundary breaker at our studio, I'm good friends with her and I saw her right after and we laughed so hard. And she was like, "Oh my God, these students are throwing me under the bus." I was like, "No, I'm just in the fetal position in the corner, like having an attack." You know? Brittney, you came on to talk about rheumatoid arthritis that you have been dealing with for many, many years, but then you've had a lot to update us with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you'll just reintroduce yourself to our listeners and give them like kind of like a short summary of what we talked about and then what's new, please.
Yeah. So short summary again, my name's Brittney Montalvo. I've been doing aerials a little over a decade now. And when I came on last time, it was with the focus of, first pregnancy as well as kind of my journey with rheumatoid arthritis, as well as how that was affecting my pregnancy. Since I talked with you last, I have now had my child. He was born in mid-January. Everything that I thought was going to happen with his delivery did not. Um, and yeah, the rheumatoid arthritis reared its ugly head post-delivery. So it's been a bit of a doozy for that fourth trimester that I'm just now exiting.
So, like, rear its ugly head like immediately.
Yep, immediately. And it's part of it is like what I mentioned of nothing going according to plan in my last few weeks of my pregnancy. And it unfortunately kind of created a perfect storm for me to have a horrible, horrible flare up for a good while.
Okay, so let's go back into that third trimester. Tell us the story.
Yeah, so I believe I can't remember if I mentioned it when we talked last time, but my darling baby boy was refusing to turn. And I did all the inversions, all the exercises. Nope, no, he decided to keep his head in my rib cage the entire pregnancy. Um, so ended up having to do a planned C-section, but still not what I wanted. I wanted to deliver naturally, so had to get that on the books. That was, expected, but I also got very sick with like a horrible cold the last 3-ish weeks of my pregnancy, which I don't wish that on anybody. Having a nasty cough while your stomach is already stretched to the brink of its ability. It was not fun. And because of it, I wasn't able to get my last dose of my rheumatoid arthritis medication that I get monthly. I wasn't able to get it. So then I had to then wait an additional month after that post delivery in order for it to be like safe for me to take another dose. So I went a good 2, almost 3 months without any type of medication for my condition. And it was horrible. So dealing with the recovery of a C-section, in addition to managing horrible flare-up symptoms where like getting out of bed and walking outside of the C-section recovery was incredibly painful. It was just a lot. It was a lot in those last few weeks and first couple of weeks post-delivery.
Right. And then that small part about having a baby to look after. Yeah.
Yeah, I I mean, I've had surgeries before. I had my appendix taken out when I was like 18, 19. I had a major ankle surgery, which led to my arthritis diagnosis. I've thought that I was like mentally prepared for
Yeah.
everything. Nope. No, I was not.
Okay, so let's dive into that. So, what was it about that was more challenging than you thought it was going to be?
I think for me, it was a combination of one, it was a combination with, the rheumatoid arthritis flaring up and making it very difficult to just move or even hold my child post-delivery. But it was also just I'm a very independent person and I like to like own my responsibilities and be part of it, and not being able to, get out of my bed to change his diapers in the first 2 weeks of recovery and having to rely so heavily on my husband at that time. I just the mental gymnastics of accepting where I was at, but wanting to be able to do more was harder than I thought it would be.
Now, do you think that it was more of the maternal stuff, or was it stemming from like that like super independence? Yeah,
Both.
okay.
I think it's
Okay.
both. Because for me, I had a lot of struggles with breastfeeding too.
Mm.
It did not go well for me, which was crazy because, and I've had this conversation with several people since then, that the switch that happens to your brain post delivery is wild. And what I mean by that is before delivery, I was very dead set that like I don't care if I breastfeed. If I can, great. If I can't, that's fine. I don't really want to do it because I don't want to be the sole provider for him. I want everyone to be able to help me if I need help. But as soon as like the milk came in and I started to try to breastfeed, there was just this drive that like I had to do it. I had to be successful at it. So dealing with the recovery from C-section, RA flaring up, and trying to breastfeed, and I couldn't do it from straight from the breast. I had to pump. It was just so much, so much at once that again, I thought I prepared myself mentally, but I did not.
Yeah. Was it did you just feel like your body was failing you?
I
Okay.
did, and it was so frustrating because for the most part in general in my life, if I try at
Right.
something, I try really hard, I
Right.
succeed. Like I don't struggle and fail at stuff that I want to be good at. And no matter how much I was pumping, how often I was pumping, it just wasn't working. And I felt like such a failure. I felt like my body was failing me. I felt like I was failing my
Right.
child and that I wasn't doing good enough. And even though before pregnancy or before delivery, I would did not feel that way. I was like, oh, I'll be fine either way. Like if I can, great. If I can't, that's okay. But as soon as I was in the thick of it,
Yeah.
all of that like self-talk started. Even though I knew it was
Right.
ridiculous, I could not get it out of my head.
Right. And it's just so much at once. And we are not good at being mediocre at things. No.
No,
No.
not when I want to be good at it. Like if it's something I don't really
Right.
care about, but for some reason, my brain was driven to want to be good at it as soon as the opportunity was there.
Yeah. And like breastfeeding, it's just such a confluence of like mechanical and emotional, and then the kid having their part in it, and then you having your part in it. And oh man, like even what just happened this morning to me, I feel like it's so quick that I feel like I'm failing at something. And I don't know
Hmm.
what it is. You know, it's like, and I have all the friends in the world that are like such cheerleaders and such like, you got this and you're so hard on yourself. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, if you are so used to succeeding at things with a lot of hard work, obviously, you know, you do the things, right? And then you get the result.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and I don't know if you're like me, where you're really good at being everyone else's cheerleader, but the worst at being your own.
yes. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Actually, not as much. I don't cheerlead people like they cheerlead me. I think it's like the Chinese in me. Like it's not in my DNA. It's not in
Mhm.
my like fibers to be encouraging.
Mm.
But yeah. Oh man, that is rough.
Yeah, it was one thing. I thankfully I had a few mom friends who really helped my mental health during that time, but it would have been one thing if I was dealing with just C-section recovery and RA, or just breastfeeding and C-section, or RA and like I could handle two, but having all three of those things hit me at once, and I'm a very like resilient person, it knocked me down.
Totally took you out.
Hmm.
How would you categorize it amongst the other like tough times you've had in your life?
I would say the hardest experience of my life. And again, I've dealt with a lot, but and I think for me it was a control issue,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes. Me
Because
too.
since for the most part, I've I'm very much, I kind of, yeah, some people would describe me as type A. I have my ways of doing things and I have all of my processes and plans, and because I need that sense of control in my life, making sure that I've taken responsibility for what I can, and to not be able to be in that space and just have to accept things the way that they were was really hard for me.
Yeah. Okay, this is your first pregnancy, right?
Yes, and my only. I will not be doing this again.
Well, there's also, I mean, I would add another layer to that because, like, going from not being a mom to being a mom is very different from being a mom and then having a second. Now, there's a whole different layer
Mhm.
of things that come with that. Like, now you cannot, now it's like overwhelming. There's like two little humans running around. But the transition from not to being is like, it hits everybody slightly differently. But I too, I say this all the time on the podcast. Like that 4 months right after her birth was the hardest of my life. I also cannot know if it's actually true because the other, what I would consider the hardest parts of time in my life, were like 10 years ago, and like 15 years ago. And time really dulls the senses to how terrible something was.
Yeah.
Because, I broke my leg in half 10, 11 years ago. And I definitely knew at that time, I was like, it better go up from here because this is shitty. Like, it's like so shitty. But then this feeling like that is shitty in a different way because you're also supposed to be enjoying your life. Like, it's supposed to, like, everybody on the planet is like soak in this time. They're never going to be this tiny little squish again. And you're like fighting. I mean, at least when my leg is broken, like everyone can agree everything's shitty and I can be mad about it and sad
Hmm.
and depressed. And everybody understands if I'm like in the corner crying about it. When you have a squishy baby and this is what you wanted, my brother has not been famous for being very sensitive. I once complained about being a mom and he's like, you wanted this, right? And I was like, I will go through the phone and I'll strangle you right now. Yeah, because you're supposed to be happy, air quotes, and like it's just hard in ways that you don't see coming. It's nothing that, at least for me, right before she was born, I was like, I need to prepare for this, and I couldn't. Like it didn't work. You know.
Yep.
So, okay, tell us about your squish. What are the things?
Uh, he's great. I mean, overall, he's a really, really good baby. We didn't have to deal with colic. He wouldn't cry nonstop. He sleeps at the moment pretty
Okay,
well.
okay. Crossing fingers.
We're about to hit that 4 month, so even last night was like the first night that he was waking us up every 3 hours, and we'd gotten to a point where we were getting about 4 to 5 hours, but now he's back to every 3 hours. So I think that 4 month regression is coming, but overall he's been a really, really great baby. Unless he gets overstimulated, but he gets that from me.
My bean was really, she would get overtired very easily. Like that tipping point was very, very
Yep.
short. And man, when she got into that space, you're like, oh my God,
Yep.
so bad.
Yeah. The hardest thing we've had with him for a good like month was car travel. He was horrible in the car and would just start screaming at us, not even 30 minutes into a drive. And unfortunately, because of where I live in conjunction to Austin, where we just have to be in the car a good long while to get anywhere. So that was rough. But thankfully, it looks like we're coming out of the coming out of that for a bit.
Can you figure out a reason why? Is like, it's just too long for the baby?
I don't know. I mean, I've been doing a lot of different experimentations to figure out what the common denominator is. I think it might have been he was getting too hot because we had the infant insert
Mm-hmm.
in the
Yeah.
car seat. Um, it could be that it was too long. He's just the one thing that he does is if he is uncomfortable or doesn't like it, he's going to tell you
Mm-hmm.
immediately. But that's the hard thing
You
with
don't know what
babies
it
is like they
is.
can't
Yeah.
tell you actually what it is. So it's just a lot of trial and error to figure out what can I do to make you happy again?
Oh man, like now that me and Bean can communicate, I think back to when she couldn't. I was like, it's so hard. You're just trying to figure it out. You're like trying to be a, Sherlock Holmes, and it's impossible to figure it out sometimes. We had a nice little moment yesterday because not even it wasn't just one day, but like she has slowly started to completely go to the bathroom by herself. Like she goes in there and then she comes out and everything's done.
Huzzah. That's a cause for celebration.
Like the underwear's back on. She wiped herself. She washed her hands. The toilet's flushed. I'm like, it's a miracle. And it's not even Christmas. Like, what? It's an Easter miracle, guys. You know? But then she's also decided that after her bath, she doesn't want one parent to like dry her and lotion her. She wants both. And then I would joke around that we're her butlers. And then now she's like, Mama, two butlers. I want two butlers, not one. I was like, oh my God, this is so my life right now. We're also in the part of Bean's life where she's sick every 10 days from preschool.
Yeah, we dealt with that with my husband's daughter from a previous
Mm,
relationship. They didn't preschool or anything. But when she started school in kindergarten, it was constant, like constant illness again and again, just because of exposure to all the germs and things. So yeah, I feel
yeah,
you
so
on that
whenever they
one.
start, basically. So, like, it would have been when she was 2.5 if we put her into preschool at 2.5. But now she's 4, and this is her first year of preschool, and we are in it. Uh, there's always a silver lining. If we had more than one kid, then more than one kid would be sick because they would bring it home
Yeah.
and then it would spread to the kid. My immune system is so beefed up right now. Like, I have no fear. I was like, I can walk into a sneeze. I'm not worried. Because she'll like to like put her nose on my nose and we're having a conversation and then full sneeze. I'm like, I'm
Hmm.
Superwoman. This is fine. I'm gonna knock on wood right now. Um,
Yeah, I know.
so you are not back to work.
No, I am. So my first week back to work was last week.
Okay. And how does that feel?
It feels fine, but I'm very lucky that I work from home. I don't have to go to an office. I don't have to be out of the house. And my husband is still on paternity leave for another month. So it's very easy right now. We do have a nanny who's going to come in once he's also back at work. That will be interesting.
Yes.
Like trying to not stop what I'm doing to go in there if he's crying. Like I'm very curious to see how I do, not necessarily how she does.
Yeah, both of them will probably be fine. The baby and the nanny. It's us,
Yeah.
right? So remind us again what your job is.
Yeah, I work in tech. I do sales enablement, so training and creating content to hopefully get our sales reps to do better jobs, do better at their jobs.
And was
So
somebody
yeah, I
doing
create
your
content.
job when you were not there?
No, no,
Oh,
no. I mean, we have another person on the team who does stuff similar to me, but anything that I was attached to in my projects were just on hold while I was gone.
so are you having the feeling that I was having yesterday?
Not
Okay,
yet.
okay.
Um, it, I'm sure it's coming. I actually just got handed, or I got looped into like a high priority, high visibility project this morning. I was like, ooh, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
Does it feel, how does it feel? Does it feel like amazing to put your adult pants on for something?
It does. Yeah, it feels good to have something, some type of ownership and focus that's not just keeping a tiny human alive.
Yes, yes. And for me, any work that's just adults, My perception of it now is so different. It's so easy.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And I think part of it, of what feels good is not it's giving me an outlet to not just be mom.
Mm.
Because like I love it. I love being a mom, but I also don't want that to be my end all be all. That's all that I am to the world now. So it feels good to be back doing something else in conjunction.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I have had little glimpses of just being mom, and there are moments in it where I'm just like, oh no, 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 no. Like I will lose myself to it. Like it's very clear to me. Not
Yeah, I, I feel the
not
same
to
way.
say that I'm not with her most of the time, because I am, because I also work from home. So I'm with her most of the time. So I wouldn't give that up either. But it's more so having the abstract of it in my mind, like that I have these assignments and goals and recordings with people, and I must do editing and all that stuff. If I don't have those things, I don't know. I would turn into a lump of coal or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I obviously care way too much about my students' development, my hobbyist students' development. It's not like they're going to Cirque du Soleil, but it's okay. I'm working through it.
Hmm.
Your aero practice dormant currently.
Yeah, it's still dormant. I actually just put my rig back up this last weekend, but not with any intention to do any heavy aerials. I really I have this like grand vision in my head of doing my PT exercises, but like just holding myself on my Lyra and doing them and just doing it that way just to have a inkling of a feeling of doing
Yeah.
aerials again. But no, not yet, just because my while a lot of my C-section recovery is going really well, like my scar's not super sensitive, I can touch it, I can do the massage. But the wild thing to me is the area of my belly above my C-section is still so tender and still feels so sore and bruised. So the idea of but still the idea of doing a hip drape seems light years away.
You are, wait, what's your apparatus?
Hard
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah,
apparatuses.
yeah.
So Kira, trapeze, and then I do a little bit of sling, but those definitely not my main.
I mean, I feel like you Lyra and trapeze chicks, you guys are like pubic bone and hips of steel, you know?
Yeah, which is why the C-section, I don't know. I think having to resolve myself to getting a C-section, I think it made me more sad because I need that area to be strong and having to rebuild that. It almost feels like I'm never going to be able to do aerials again, which I know is not
Mm-hmm.
true. There's so many aerialists who've gotten C-sections and go back to it, but it's hard to accept it's going to happen.
It's daunting. The idea of it's
Yeah.
daunting. I feel like some people don't feel like that. They feel like they're gonna just pop a baby out one way or another, and it's just a matter of time. And I used to feel that way. I used to feel that way. And then the recovery from this pregnancy was just way longer than I wanted it to be. And, there's a pandemic in there somewhere. Like there's a lot of hills to overcome. It's like your body, the society, the world, everything. Yeah, so it feels daunting. But remind me, you trained throughout your pregnancy for a while.
I did up until my third trimester. So I mean, training is a very nice word for it. I was doing very easy flows and I was only working on sling from second trimester just because it was nicer on my
Yeah.
body. But yeah, I trained and taught classes up until the start of my third trimester.
So it's not so long ago for you.
Not so long ago, uh, but longer than I have ever taken a break in the last, 10
Yes.
years. So it feels weird to not have touched an apparatus since November.
Yeah. Okay. And then you haven't yet. You're about to. You're going to.
That's the
Okay.
plan. So the rig is up. I still need to get the pulley system on it, get my crash mat out there, and then just very easy. I literally just want to do my PT work, but with my hands on an apparatus.
You live outside of Austin.
Yes, I do. I live about 45, depending on like what point of Austin, about 45 minutes outside of Austin.
So the weather is nice now.
Right now it's nice. We probably have that only for a few more weeks and then it'll be hot. So it'll be me like waking up at the crack of dawn if I want to try to get any time in.
But it was like cool/cold this winter.
No, not really. It was pretty warm
Okay.
winter. We had a spell of like 30, actually we had a spell of 30-degree weather right when we came home. I came home from the hospital. But other than that, it's always generally warm or hot here.
Okay. So it's like, 60s, 70s in the winter time.
Yeah, sometimes 80s
Really?
because Texas is
Yeah,
just
and
that way.
unpredictable too. Okay. Um, Brittney, oh my goodness. Do you have advice for those postpartum women out there?
Um, don't hold yourself to any plan. That is my advice. Because if there's anything that I have learned,
Let go of your expectations.
which is funny, yeah, whatever expectations you can have them, but be willing to let them go. And the joke that I made to a lot of my friends, because like I said, I'm very like calendared. I have my commitments. I know what I'm doing with my life. Uh, that my son was following suit, and that's why he didn't turn because he wanted his delivery to be on a specific day. So yeah. Granted, apparently I was having contractions when I went in, so he was ready to come either
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. What week did you guys have the C-section planned for?
39.
39 weeks. Okay.
Yeah, so 39 weeks. Was started to have contractions the day before. Didn't realize it because I'm just so used to having very painful like cramping and things from like my periods my entire
Hmm.
life that it did not connect that, oh yeah, these are contractions. So yeah, walked in, got on all the monitors. The nurse turns to me and goes, "Do you realize you're having contractions every 2 to 3 minutes?" Like, oh, good to know.
Awesome. Brittney, thank you for the check-in. I think these are really important.
Of course, thanks for having me. And yeah, it this path that we have all chosen to take is wild.
Brittney, thank you so much for carving out the time to speak to us. And I know it's a really busy time in your life, so we appreciate you. Listeners, if you please honor me with a 5-star rating and a review. It would mean the world to me. If you think that you might be a great addition to this podcast and to this wonderful collection of stories, I'd love to hear from you. Please, you can always DM me on @CarrieWe1 on Instagram. I'm checking my DMs all the time. And I would love to have you as a virtual student. I have lots of resources for you there on the website. Please check it out. Check out Greener Grass with Kelly McVeigh. I do that podcast every week as well. And we learn more about our lives and we talk to so many incredible, incredible individuals. So if you just need more to relax your day, there's more content out there for you. All right, guys. Thanks so much. Over and out. This is Carrie from Wrap Your Head Around Sulks. This is Expecting Areas Podcast.